11 million people, including Jews and other prisoners, fell victim to the atrocities committed by Nazis during the Holocaust from 1941 to 1945. Nazis commonly provided the defense that they were simply following orders. Although not to provide a means of justification, a strong influence by conformity to an authoritative figure may explain the cause of these actions. Good morning. My name is Krish Kapoor, and this is Conformity in Decision Making. With Nazis' defense that they were simply following superior orders, there are clearly two sides to this issue. The stimulus source, moral courage and intelligent disobedience, defines the concept of intelligent disobedience in the context of the military as working within the framework of an existing law to resist or refuse a harmful order. This moral obligation conflicts with established expectation for individuals to conform to superior command in the military. This suggests that it lies in the responsibility of the individual to act against conforming to immoral orders, but raises the necessity to investigate this topic further to truly evaluate the extent to which conformity influences decision-making in society. This leads me to my question. To what extent does conformity affect individuals' decision-making across differing societal contexts? My argument is that conformity may act as an inexorable force, which greatly influences the decisions individuals make under various societal pressures. This is because conformity influences decision-making through the presence of an authority, group dynamics, and financial markets. The Stanley Milgram experiment aimed to recreate the authoritative conditions in Nazi Germany, and the goal was to see if the presence of an authority figure influenced the participant to shock a fake participant at lethal voltage. The study found that 82.5% of participants continued administering past 150 volts, which is when the experimenter expressed their desire to quit the experiment. However, 65.2% of participants still continued administering the maximum possible voltage, which was 450 volts. Individuals are consequently willing to conform to the orders of an authority despite its apparent harmful consequences. It only takes simple prompts from the authoritative figure for the participant to conform to seemingly traumatic orders. Humans are clearly willing to obey the orders of an authority, even if this means they must take immoral actions. The Stanford prison experiment conducted by Philip Zimbardo extends these findings by not only attributing conformity to one figure, but also the environment to which individuals are exposed to. This experiment assigned a randomized role of either a guard or a prisoner to the participant in a realistic jail environment. As you can see, the insistence by authority of the guard increased sharply within just 5 hours, and the resistance by the victims from the prisoners also showed this increasing trend until the study had to be prematurely ended. These guards were ordinary participants that took abusive actions that they previously thought they never would. While showing resistance to the guards, the prisoners started accepting the punishments that were delivered, following their perceived standards of the jail environment. So consequently, individuals conform quickly and effectively to their roles in society. Therefore, we must evaluate how these environmental circumstances are created in more realistic settings. A study conducted by Norman Ham, who works in the Department of Psychology, investigated the influence a group of children with incorrect answers can have on a group of children that are tasked with simply counting metronome clicks. Lower arc sign values in this case indicate a higher tendency to conform, and as you can see at the age of 7, conformity levels vary greatly, but by the age of 13, conformity was high for both females and males. So this shows that generally, 7-year-olds had a lower tendency to conform than 10 and 13-year-olds. While the children in the control group announced their judgments privately to the experimenter, the children in the experimental group reported their judgments publicly. Despite the simplicity of the task and the confidence in the participants, the data suggests that older children will modify their outward response to meet social expectation. This is consistent with prior claims, since early and middle adolescence is when conformity is greatest. Conformity influenced by groups can also be applied to economics, as Liebenstein, an American economist at Harvard, defines the bandwagon phenomena as involving the perpetual need for individuals to perform an action because others are doing so regardless of their own belief, which is key in fast fashion. Economists may apply herd behavior to shifts in consumer behavior and fashions and fads. Customers feel compelled to purchase a commodity simply to fit in with a fashion trend, which shows how conformity may lead individuals to buy clothes impulsively. Businesses take advantage of this consumer behavior by meeting the demand of the latest fashion designs, which subsequently improves their profits. This can be seen through the strikingly high increase of about 60% in the market size from 2011, where it was about 1 billion, to 2020, which is about 1.6 billion, which is about a 60% increase. It is evident that consumers are increasingly paying more money a year to buy clothing, and this is attributable to customers feeling compelled to adapt to new fashion trends, which is promoting the fast fashion industry as a lucrative business. Therefore, conformity is now driving a major portion of the economy, which must not only be influencing the decisions that consumers make, but also that of businesses around the globe. With this research, it can be concluded that conformity is a significant psychological force that drives individuals' decision-making in society. As seen previously, this is under the influence of authority, peers, and fast fashion. And while people may hold their internal belief, inevitably the modification of their outward response will lead them to change their original decisions. The impacts of conformity are evident in stimulating social roles, as 60% of jihadis have had an encounter with law enforcement concerning domestic violence prior to engaging in terrorism. If seen through the jihadist perspective, it can be said that they are merely conforming to the norms that are established in their society, which shapes their actions. Additionally, a study conducted by Alice Sloak found that the highest odds of engaging in substance abuse stem from her friend's invitation to drink. Clearly, people feel that it is necessary to meet the expectations of their peers to avoid feeling out of step, and the simple act of conformity is leading to one of the highest causes of death in the US. And finally, as seen previously, the 60% increase in the market size of the global apparel industry is a trend that is projected to continue. As of 2022, the apparel market size crossed 2 billion and is expected to grow more than 4% annually. Due to rapid conformity, fast fashion is becoming a major portion of the economy and will continue growing. Thank you, and do you have any questions?
First question. What information did you need that you weren't ever able to find, and then how did that steer your research?
So initially I wasn't able to find any psychology studies, and so I decided to, and that was primarily on JSTOR, I couldn't find them. So I decided to use another search engine called PubMed, and I was able to find more substantial research in psychology studies, and that's where I could find data supporting Stanley Milgram and the Stanford Prison Experiment.
Okay. And what additional questions came up for you as you worked through the whole project?
Additional questions that came up for me were exactly what neurological processes influence conformity. So that would involve, for example, investigating the different parts of the brain that influence conformity, like the prefrontal cortex. And so although I didn't include that in my presentation, it allowed me to dive into a deeper understanding of the psychology behind it. And so I was able to contextualize my argument.